Since SIGGRAPH we've gotten a bit more support for Firehawk, we found a few more patrons, and we've managed to get some funding from Amazon for us to handle integration tests. So now I've gotten the repository to the point where I can spin up an integration test with a little bit of initial setup. So maybe after about 5 minutes of setting up a new virtual machine, I can do a full infrastructure integration test that takes about an hour to spin up the entire infrastructure. So we've done quite a lot of work since then. We've split out the way all of this is designed. I've used to have everything that you provision, everything from running within one virtual machine, and now I've split that into 2 virtual machines. And so the first virtual machine is quite lightweight, and it just handles the secrets, it handles the encryption, and we provision everything from out of that machine. The idea being that nothing should really be jumping into this machine except you. But this machine has keys to be able to jump out from that machine to other locations in order to provision other machines. So now when we've authenticated with Keybase, which we're using for 2-factor auth, we're then able to also provision our second virtual machine. So right now that second virtual machine is running our deadline database, our deadline connection server. It might run other license servers like your Houdini license server, and then we also run our VPN from there. And then that operates as a router. So we also use our other systems on site, can move traffic through that router into the cloud, and the cloud also can move through that VPN connection to connect with your on-site systems. So now within about an hour, we're able to spin up everything. So we have some operations running in parallel now. So that, let's call it the Ansible control, the main controller that contains all the secrets, that is able to provision a local workstation at the same time as it's provisioning the what we're calling the Firehawk gateway, which has all of the deadline and OpenVPN stuff on it, and then we're also able to provision some of the cloud in parallel as well. So the build time takes around about an hour from a test that I just run. So this is like a really huge step, because previously I had to, in order to test stability, I had to go through about 6 different stages, which I had initially broken out into those stages because I needed to reliably know what had broken. But now, like, doing that has allowed me to understand where all the dependencies are, and that allows me to then parallelize things back again. So this is a really important step for me to be able to build a proper integration test workflow, so that in the future when we say do merges into the dev branch, or we try to create a release candidate, we're able to run integration tests on that branch automatically and know whether or not something is stable. So in the future, when we do say a merge to the dev branch, we can run an integration test on it. We can even do things like automatically send a test submission to run on render nodes, and do things like a full end-to-end test that actually involves sending a submission from here to the cloud, getting renders back, and basically putting the whole architecture through its paces. So that's where I like to go from here. Another really important note that I just recently discovered in the last few months is that we've now got deadline usage-based licensing for Houdini Engine. So that means that you can pay for Engine to run Houdini jobs and pay by the hour, and those usage-based licenses should be able to be used on OpenFirehawk. I don't know what this means in terms of whether or not you're going to be able to submit to that with Indy. I know that when you submit to an Engine job with Indy, that the license gets downgraded to like an Indy Engine session, which means that you can't generate IFDs, so you can't use Mantra. There's a few other things like that, but I also don't know if it's part of the user license agreement yet. So I'm yet to touch base with side effects on what that might mean for Undi users, but at the very least, it's very exciting because it means that at the very least, with a local on-site license, you're going to be able to scale up engine licenses in the cloud using OpenFirehawk. And I really hope that it might be possible for us to do that with Engine one day too. With Indy too, which would mean that the community would be able to more benefit from something like I'm working on here. So really excited to share this news with you guys, and thank you very much for your support.